Hi traders, this is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Tuesday, the 16th of April. All right, the Asian session just kicking off, so it's a good time to go through and work out what's going to happen over the next 24 hours. All right, now just coming down, let me just scroll down. First of all, just sort of tick away here the today's market conditions. If I just get this up. So looking at still, the majors are still drifting sideways, but we are starting to get into the first part of the core releases for this week. Core market driver, well, Brexit's still in there. I'll have to update that as well because the Chinese-US situation is due to escalate. Now, I noticed that a couple of the big banks have been subpoenaed to get Trump's tax details. Now, as Trump comes under pressure with his tax, they're looking for another way to get him out of office. You would expect him to start increasing the intensity on China to try and deflect the attention away from himself. So I have seen a few articles out there recently where Trump's been quoted as saying, we're going to win either way with regards to the Chinese situation. So he will use that to leverage and give himself a bit more popularity as his tax credentials come under focus. Now, looking at the key, the major currency pairs here, okay, it's still slim pickings. As I said, most trading currencies is going sideways. The dollar yen is still broken a little bit higher, as has the Aussie. Now, the Aussie's going against the overall bearish sentiment it has fundamentally. So just be aware, that's a bit of a mismatch. Coming into today's activity, I just actually came across there's some Chinese house prices out. Now, Chinese house prices have been going up steadily for the last year or so. So that is going to come in and give us another bit more detail about that Chinese economy. So just keep an eye on that. Traders can hold positions through that release. At the same time as that the Chinese housing comes out, we've got the RBA monetary policy meeting minutes, a bit more important than the Chinese house prices, but rarely do we see much difference. Hopefully, or maybe we do get something in there that gives us some sort of direction on that issue. Now, the biggest release, I think, for the day is going to be, especially in the Asian session, the Chinese GDP figures. It comes out half an hour after those monetary policy minutes. At GDP is the overall sort of health check on the economy. So if these tariffs that the US have been imposing have been impacting, we should start to see it there. And that is going to be important for the Aussie, Kiwi, and also the Yuan. All right, now, as we come into the European session, now that extension on Brexit has really diffused the pressure on the UK government. So we may start to see the fundamentals come into play. Now, I'll show you in a second, the sterling technicals look very good, except we just haven't had the core market drivers. And with Brexit overriding everything, it's created, it's really diffused the data. So we may see that really come into play today. Now, that's not all we have to play for. There's plenty going on here. We've got the German zoo economic sentiment, historically good numbers, okay? Now, Euro is just drifting around, so that's where we want to see what's going on with those numbers. The manufacturing sales out of Canada. Now, we had the Bank of Canada business survey outlook yesterday. Those numbers were much weaker, putting the Bank of Canada on sort of basically no sort of action going forward. And that's going to be followed 45 minutes later by the US industrial production numbers. All right, so we've got pretty much good data releases across all time zones. So there's going to be plenty for everyone in today's trading. Now, especially with the charts are looking quite good. Even though the majors are just drifting sideways, Euro, you got the Aussie, even the Kiwi for that matter, sterling, they're all waiting for something to happen or a penny to drop. And that's where, like today's UK data, if you know what, the employment numbers can move this thing, well, then the fundamentals may just take over. And you've got those Chinese numbers, which are going to be important for the Aussie and Kiwi. There's also potential here, topside dollar yen. It's just resting on support here on the bottom of the cloud. Also a bit of resistance just above the current market location. Dollar CAD, well, it's up here in the boondocks. Keep an eye on it. Oil still rallying, or holding on to that move above $60. But dollar CAD, it's a little bit tricky at the moment. So manufacturing sales could throw this thing around quite aggressively. So make sure you check that out later in that North American session. All right, guys, that's it from me. There's, as I said, there's plenty going on. The ideal situation isn't perfect. We don't have the clear direction on the charts, but we do have a few pairs with direction, and we've got releases coming out with these. So make sure you tune in and check those out as you go through the next 24 hours. All right, guys, that's the FX Market Insight for today. We'll catch you later on. Cheerio.